Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. My talk today focuses on the fact that as of the 13th of August, kind of two interesting developments. Number one is that for early customers who are S or X owners, they're now being offered delivery of their vehicle between October and December of 2017. Secondly, those owners are now going to be selling their vehicles, and I thought there's some interesting developments relative to the value of their vehicles being sold. Bonjour, wie geht's? Wie steht's noch im Ausfallbahn Straße? Ni hao ma. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. I was starting to work on a story that I called "What does Tesla have against October and November?" And the reason was that I was told, or we were told by Elon Musk, that he was going to do 30 in July, 100 in August, and 1,500 in September in terms of the Model 3s. But then he skipped to the 5,000 they were going to be delivering per week starting December 1st. And what he left out of those calculations was what was going to happen between October 1 and November 30. And it looks like we have the answer now. And the answer is that, if I were to guess, I would say that if we pick the middle of the range that they were offered, perhaps by November 1st or November 15th, we're going to start seeing new owners that are not Tesla employees get their vehicles. Now, this is interesting news for kind of a bunch of reasons. Number one is that if the line actually starts moving on real customers, I think that's awesome. It suggests that folks will start getting their vehicles quicker. Number two, this is also good news about the stability of the current vehicles. I thought the biggest risk that was associated with the Model 3 was that the 2170 is a new battery, and even though Panasonic is manufacturing and Tesla is using their thermal management system on it, there was still a risk that this thing could blow up or do something unexpected as they started racking up miles. And so I think that the stability is there to make this an attractive or make sure that this is working well. The third thing that comes to mind is the fact that as Elon went through his numbers, I was forecasting somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 current Tesla and SpaceX employees would be purchasing the vehicle. And therefore, if you have, let's say, 1,500 a month or so, it would take a few months to go through inventory. And, it kind of implies that somewhere around the end of October, all of the Tesla employees and SpaceX employees will have their vehicles and they can move on down the list. I was also intrigued because when I was doing my calculations, I kind of felt like you'd get out of December before the first real customers got their cars. So let's say they start getting it November 1st, you can see how the line starts moving towards more people, particularly those who don't currently have a Tesla, to get access to their vehicles as they're coming out. The next thing I wanted to review is the fact that the friend who has been given notice on his vehicle was user number 5,000. The vehicle he chose was the smallest battery. And he shared some things that I thought were interesting issues that might be worth covering soon. But in general, he thought that because he had the smallest battery, Tesla available in an S, which kept his cost down initially, I expected that what we were going to see is something in the 40 range for the price of that used vehicle from Tesla. But I believe because it's a small battery and current range has dropped from 208 miles to about 190, 195 miles, this sort of gives you a sense of why that vehicle might be cheaper. So one big question that pops off here is, wait a second, what if you can get a Model S that's used for less money? So let's say $32,000 for a Model S. So this brings up a really interesting question, which is, should you consider a used Model S sooner rather than waiting 2 years for a year and a half before you're able to get a Model 3? Interesting question, particularly places like Norway, where you save a lot of money by taking an S and it's a used vehicle. In his case, the car has 50,000 miles on it, and he is going to be trading it into Tesla. So I think there's going to be an interesting used market emerging and a bunch of details that you have to go through. One detail on that vehicle in particular, he said it was 60 kW and it was software restricted down to 45 kW. So I found this kind of interesting because he was sharing that one of the challenges that he was looking forward to getting rid of, is the fact that if you have a 45 kW battery in your range, it's say 190, 195 miles, he explained to me that he had some white knuckle moments because he ran into a challenge, which was that most of the superchargers are 175 miles apart. So if you use your radio and you only have 195 miles to work with, he said that he had gotten to a couple of chargers which resulted in having like 1 mile of battery life left before being out. So, you know, I definitely think there's some calculations to be made, but if you're not going huge distances or your superchargers are closer together, I think it's a great value to get a used vehicle in that, you know, just over 30,000 range that you can get immediate delivery on rather than having to wait for a long time. So I thought those are two issues that were fascinating. In particular, to review, there'll be delivery to real customers before December, and I'm guessing someplace in early November you'll start seeing delivery, and I wouldn't be surprised to see scale delivery happening towards the end of November, ahead of the December 5,000 a week target that he talked about. I think this is good news for people who want EVs, and look forward to comments that you might have. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Tschüss, macht's gut, au revoir, à tout à l'heure, Leitrot, Choda Hafez. Please like and subscribe.